Hello, everybody. Today I have Alison Bell with me. Alison is a
Hi.
16-year Marine Corps military spouse, and she's a photographer. And I'm excited to talk with you today because you actually reached out to me asking
Yep.
to be on the podcast, and like that hardly ever happens. So,
Woo!
I know that you'll be excited to be here too. So it'll
Yeah.
be a good episode.
Yeah, well, another military spouse, and probably podcaster, if I'm remembering correctly, shared your stuff with me, and I was like, "Ooh, this is really good." And I like deep dove because I'm into hosting events for all the same reasons you are.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I could add some sense to this. So
Yeah,
I think
I
anyway.
I appreciate it. It makes my life easier when people are like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'll be a guest." So.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your background. You've moved around a bunch with the military because of your husband's job. Sometimes
Yeah.
that takes us way far from where we grew up. Where'd you grow up? Like,
So much further. So
yeah.
contrary to my adult life, I grew up in the same quarter square mile outside of Charleston, South Carolina, my entire life. Like I graduated high school with kids I was in diapers with in daycare. I still ask about their mamas when I like run into them in Charleston or even on Facebook, like, oh my gosh, I could all these people, right? So that being, and then my parents divorced when I was really young. And so I was in Charleston. All my mom's side of the family was in Charleston. So my grandmother, my aunts, my cousins were 2 hours away in Columbia, another set of cousins, in the upstate, but everybody within driving distance, or that's what it felt like. And I didn't do this back and forth thing. My father's side of the family was older. They were just further away. And so everything from Thanksgiving and Christmas to minor holidays like July 4th, Memorial Day, all the things I spent with the same group of people at the same house, one or two houses, either with my granny or my aunts. So when I was really young, it was my granny. Granny like hosted everything. We had the same kinds of foods, the same meals, like very traditional, like simple, like but people, a house full of people, right? And then as I got older, my aunt kind of took over the hosting and doing more and having more based on how many people were going to be there. But it was the same people, similar foods, if not the exact same, and just a house full of people. And so that very much defined what a holiday meant to me, especially the major holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter. Um, and so I guess that's a weird experience, not having to like go back and forth between like mom and dad sides of families, or, I have family that had both sides in the same town, and that looked exhausting, like having to go from like house to house to house to house to house in the same town. And then don't blame them. They just abdicated and were like, we're staying home some years. Like I totally got it. But the definition of a holiday gathering was family, people, like a
That's,
crowd.
yeah, that's really cool. I was going to ask you like what like hosting looked like or holidays
Mhm.
gatherings looked like when you were growing up. So I think that's cool to hear. And I'm also a child of divorce.
Yeah.
But both my parents lived in the same small town. And so
Mhm.
we did go back and forth, but it was like 10 minutes to like one house. And then,
Yeah.
or we just kind of like normally we were at my dad's on Christmas Eve and then we went to back to my mom's on Christmas morning, which
Yeah.
looking back now, sometimes like with my kids trying to make like Christmas morning special, I'm like, I never really had that. I was 3 when my parents got divorced. So I never had that like
Same.
walking down the stairs to like your
Oh
tree
yeah.
in the morning.
Okay.
Like, so I think I didn't warning parents, we're going to talk about SANTA.
Yeah.
I think I just didn't believe it in that from a very
Uh-huh.
early age because like my I was at my dad's the night before and then I went to my mom's and it was just like I don't know, it just
Yeah, there's a disconnect.
there
Yeah.
it really
And
was. And
so
like
my
my kids have a totally different experience now because it's like trying to make it magical. But I'm also like, how do I do that? Because I didn't really have that as a kid.
Yeah.
So
Well, what's surprising to me is how much as a parent, I have psychoanalyzed my own experience,
mm,
compared and contrasted it to my husband's, and been like, no, this is normal. That's not.
yeah.
Like for better, for worse, right or wrong, I don't know. But yeah, similar young divorce. But my dad was in like 6, 7 hours drive away. So it was
Yeah.
not, back to back like that.
Well, you brought up a good point too, though, about just like even if it's not a divorce situation, but like if you once you're married and then you have like in-laws, your own family, or like
Mm-hmm.
as military families, if you live far enough away but close enough to get back for a holiday and you have to like plan all that stuff. I was so
It's
grateful that we were always so far away, or we were both deployed, or whatever, that it was just like there wasn't a question. Like nobody asked it when we were coming back for
it's
this
yeah.
holiday or that holiday.
We have
Yeah.
experienced both. So currently we're in Hawaii and both of our families are in the Eastern time zone. They're not close by any means. They're about 7 or 8, 10. I've forgotten how far apart they are. It's been that long. Um, so there's never that in the same town or go the same day kind of thing. It's one or the other. But that was something like it was a double-edged sword of the first time we were stationed overseas in Japan. Our kids were ages 6 months to he turned 6 years in the hotel when we first left. And those 3 years, like of having holidays be completely autonomous, were glorious. But also, I
Yeah.
really miss my family, right? Like there,
Right.
that, like my definition of what holiday and hosting meant like, really took a hit. Um, but I mean, it's also the impetus and kind of the catalyst for me to host, right? Like this is my
Yeah.
definition of what we should be doing, what I want to do, and how I want to spend our time and use it wisely. Um, so yeah, I feel like I'm getting off track.
No, you're fine. Well, I was going to ask you is like, can you take me back to like what made you want to have like bigger
Oh yeah.
gatherings or the first time that you hosted? Because like, what were you feeling in those moments of like, well, I need to invite people over because I'm feeling X.
Yeah. Okay. So our first duty station ever was Camp Lejeune. Camp Lejeune, a short drive to Charleston. So regardless if it was a short weekend or major holiday, like we were able to, the bigger holidays, we were able to go further away. But even for like a little Easter, 4th of July or something, we went down to Charleston because it was easy to do. Then our second duty station was Alabama, outside of Birmingham. And so Charleston was not a quick jaunt. It was now an 8-hour drive, right? And so we were off-season movers. So we moved in January. And our first holiday, we're in this new town. We have no military connections whatsoever because he was the I&I at a reserve unit, right? So
Mm.
there's not a commissary, there's not a base. We're in the middle of civilian world,
Yep.
plopped. We're probably 25, 26 with a 2-year-old and a newborn. We moved when Jack was 6 weeks old. So, like, bought our first house, all this stuff, and Easter rolls up. And we had just joined a church, but everything was still so new. I
Yeah.
was really hopeful that, like, maybe we could make friends and be invited somewhere, but we weren't. And so that Easter, I remember like being in our little house, just the four of us, and like crying because it was
Mhm.
so lonely and sad. And I was like, nobody likes us. We're not making friends. And looking back, the civilians just think differently. And I didn't know that at the time. Civilians don't realize the gaps that are missing. They don't make friends as quickly as military do. They don't go, hey, I mean, I meet people at church now and I'm like, you just arrived 2 weeks from Christmas. What are you doing for Christmas? You need to come
Yeah.
to my house. Like,
Yeah.
I have done that. I do that, right? But civilians don't think that way. They all had grandparents, they all had family in town. If they did, whether it was 45 minutes or 10 minutes away, they all had plans, and it did not include inviting us to any of that. And I was butthurt. I really was. I was sad and was like, I'm never doing this again. We're never doing this again. We're hosting everything. And so the first time I really hosted, and I honestly don't remember the first time we hosted, but that was the impetus where I was like, this isn't happening. We are
Yeah.
not letting this happen again. We are taking control. And I really like my childhood definition of holidays and gathering really informed like I need to be in charge of this and I need to be the one to control the situation if I don't want to be sad.
Yeah.
So I
Oh
did.
my gosh.
And
It's
here I
so
am.
so true. Um, so what I heard in there, you were sad, you were lonely, and you felt left out,
Mhm.
which is like
Yeah.
how we all feel anytime you get to a new place. And military or not, you move to a new place, you're going to feel that way, at least initially. But describing civilians as just not being able to do that is so true. We kind of same situation, but like years and years, like every duty station, we had this
Yeah.
huge military community. And then my husband's last duty station in England was not that way. Like there weren't a
No, I
ton of
can't. How different was
Americans
that?
and it was British and it was during COVID. So it was just like really hard to meet
Uh,
people and like make those deep connections.
hmm
And you take like a British civilian, it's like a whole nother level of I don't need to know you
Yeah.
So that was really tough. And then we moved to Kansas City where we are now, and it's like a couple hours from our families. It's like a great place for us to be.
Yeah.
But same situation of like everybody that our school friends, our church friends, all that stuff in our neighborhood, everybody's families are also here. And so
Hmm.
same holiday, the first Easter that I hosted here, we always do this big Easter brunch. I've talked about this so many times on the podcast. People that regularly listen are probably like, I'm so tired of this story. Um, but same thing, like nobody could come. And I was so bummed.
Oh,
And I'm just like, why does everybody
it's
hang out
so
with their family?
defeating. Right? And like in the civilian world, it's not like they've known those people for 2 and 3 years, like a longtime friend would for us as military.
Yeah.
Those are friends from high school, college, babies, like childhood, your mom's best friend. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. It
deep
was,
roots.
yeah. And it's so hard to like break into that. It was hard.
It
I had to
is.
have this whole like mindset shift of like, okay, this is how people operate here. Like, we can't do things on major holidays because everybody's with their family. So we have to like plan around that. Or you just have to like keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. And that
Yeah.
gets tough sometimes as like the one who likes to host or you want to host.
Yeah.
It is hard, I think, to just like continually do it if you're not seeing like any return. But
Yeah.
it is nice when people do finally show up. But you also, like you said, want to be in control and like con controlling the gathering kind of controls your
Yeah.
feelings. So, do you ever get like tired of being the one that is like always inviting or all, is it just like
That's
established, like Allison's gonna have us, we're gonna go to Allison's or,
okay,
it can
so
get
every duty
tiring.
station's a bit different, right? So do I get tired of it? No. It
Yeah.
I think it's fun and I think it's fun like right now as we're July 4th is what, 10 days away? Little
I
no,
don't know. I'm
it's 8
so
days.
confused as to what day it is right now. I was asking my daughter
Same.
something about Tuesday this morning and she's like, Mom, it's Thursday. I was like, okay.
Exactly. That's yes, how exactly I feel this morning. So I'm prepping for the July 4th. Last night I was scrolling Instagram with my 10-year-old of food he wanted to make, like little desserts that he wanted to do, like getting ideas. That part is so fun to me. Decorating is a little less fun because I'm a little too practical for going, Pinterest perfect. But I think the planning and the ideas, the anticipation of it is a lot of fun for me, and I don't usually get tired of that. The day of. The day of is a different story. And I have taken a lot of cues from my aunt, who hosts a lot of the family gatherings these days in our family, to prep as much as possible. Like, just don't leave it the day of. You can set the table the day
A week
before.
in advance.
Yeah, I mean that's a little she can because she didn't have 4 boys in her house breaking everything. But yes, like we like set the table the day before, set things up, power wash a week before. Like little things that need to be done can be done well in advance. Um and so I do get tired the day of. I'm especially at Thanksgiving I'm like, why am I doing this? But I do in my heart of hearts I really do love it. I keep going, I keep going. Like I'll even say like I'm not doing this past year for Thanksgiving. I was like, it's gonna be really simple. It's simple, it's small. It's simple, it's small. The day of I was
Like famous
foraging.
last words.
The 2 hour break I had given myself to like just rest and get ready and enjoy the smells and the wine. I was foraging in my yard for palm fronds, for table runners, for the kids' table, and I hadn't planned to do that. I wasn't not on my radar, but I just little Energizer Bunny just get I keep going, and I really do like it, even if I shoot myself in the foot. My husband, on the other hand, is usually like, when can we not do this? When can we not? But he understands that, like, to get psychoanalyst, I'm an Enneagram 7. I love having a good party. I love having people around. I'm an extrovert. He understands my background with family, and you know, it's his job that's taken us away from that. And then also the anticipation and the buildup is a really big deal for Enneagram 7s as well. So like having something to look forward to
Yeah.
sometimes is more fun than the actual event.
I say
Um,
that all the time.
hmm Yeah, it's
Like
real. It's real.
yeah,
Enneagram 7. You might be an Enneagram 7
I
then.
think I am like a wing or something, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm very much an Enneagram 3. Like I want to get everything as much done in as few steps as possible, like efficiency,
Yeah.
efficiency. Um, and I agree sometimes like when you are host, like I love the whole planning, like coming up with
hmm
ideas, the prepping, the
Yeah.
cooking, all the stuff. And then I'm like, I am so tired, or I'm just like, I don't really want to like talk to people now, or like all these people are coming over, but I'm like, meh.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, having something to look forward to, or just the build up is exciting. So your husband's like kind of not as into it, but you have
It's the
gotten,
day of work. Yeah,
yeah,
it's the oh, I didn't think about oh, we got to wash out the this for that. We got to sweep out the garage. Oh, we got to oh, the tables, we need to set the table. You know, like it's the cleaning and the work that goes into it that lasts like 12 to 24 hours that really can get him. But my kids are older now, and so I'm really shifting gears to like make them do it because they
that's what I
can.
was going to ask is like how
Yeah.
how are you like getting their buy-in to help when it
Yeah.
comes to like getting ready, or have you done
Yeah.
anything that they've like kind of like instructed them on like how they need to behave or what they should do during, not necessarily behave, but because they're older, like I imagine they need to
Yeah.
probably like converse a little bit more or whatever. So have you
Yeah, there's
got
a
their
little
buy-in?
yeah, so with the big holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving, I think they are tapped out because they don't want to spend actual Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day cleaning up from Christmas morning to have people over for dinner. So we're kind of in the middle of reevaluating what that could look like in the future just to accommodate that, because we
Yeah.
have done it for so long. Now with July 4th coming up, they are all prepping something, like a dish. Like I'm getting their buy-in. Like, what do you want? Like we scrolled Instagram with Reed. I asked each one of them what they wanted to do. One wants to make a cake. Cool. What kind of cake you want to make? Like, I'll buy the stuff. You need to, but you're in charge of doing it, right? Like, but then also like it kind of makes it easier because it's summer and I make them do some sort of chore around the house to deep clean, whether it's like mopping something or scrubbing door jambs or something. Their jobs the 2 days before will be something that they enjoy doing that has to be done before the party, strategically placed, right? So one of them likes power washing, they will power wash the porch. I'll have somebody else, blow out and clean up, straighten the garage, or maybe that's in everybody like, hey, 10 minutes, like put everything where it goes and be done, right? But doing it not all at one time. Like I'm not going to set out the July 3rd afternoon to do all the things at once. Like we're going to stagger it. Everybody can work for 10, 20, 30 minutes at a time for 2 days up to it to get all those little things done. And I think that's part planning it, writing it down so I don't forget. Part having that time planning out a week in advance, not the day before. But then also like getting their input. What do you want to make? Like my youngest is he's doing these red, white, and blue drinks. And so we've been making red, white, and blue I'm sorry, red and blue ice cubes to go into Sprite for like 4 days now. So I make the ice cube, put them in a bag, make the ice cubes, put them in a bag, and then he'll have like a little Sprite bar with the red and white like not red and white, red and blue ice cubes that'll go in these cute little clear tumblers, and the kids can pour Sprite on them and have a little mocktail, a
Yeah,
festive
that's
drink
so
for the
cute.
kids. But that's something he wanted to do, right? My oldest, there's less buy-in, so I'll just do something like, you're gonna cut this watermelon, you're gonna make it into star shapes, and you're gonna like put it on a plate or a skewer with blueberries. Like it's simple, it's not over the top, like, but part of it is they need to learn how to cook, like so and actually this was an epiphany I had this past spring. My oldest had to do a project based on like his family heritage and a family recipe. And so he got bonus points if he made the dish himself and brought it in. And he had to have photographic evidence that he was the one that made it, not me. And it was fantastic. And I was like, why haven't I been having you make the mac and cheese this whole time, like for a
Yeah.
year? So we'll do more of that in the future for sure. Like they need to, and that's a weekly occurrence for us anyways. Hey, somebody's always my sous chef. Like if I'm making dinner, like one kid's assigned to be my assistant, and that's one of the ways we're training them to cook. And that's one of the ways I'm getting them to have that buy-in is planning, prepping, and then contributing to the overall. But you're right. When it comes to the actual party itself, usually there's a lot of kids their age, or I try to have a lot of kids their age. And so I just let them be free and okay,
Yeah.
you need to say hi. You need to like I'll ask them to do things. You need to look people in the eyes, say hello, introduce yourself if you don't know them, and then go engage and hang out with the kids and make sure that everybody's having a good time and having a good time yourself themselves.
Yeah. Um, Gosh, love that. The strategy that you like put behind like the lead up and those
Hmm.
small bites with kids, I think is so huge. Um, I am probably more on the like day before, like all hands on deck. We've got a million things we got
Yeah.
to do, so I should probably start doing more of that.
Well, it's easy to
And
get it. It's easy to get into that.
yeah, well, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm always like doing so much. I'm like, oh, I've gotten so much done a week before, a few days before, whatever. And then like the day before, you're like, oh no, there's so much left to do. But
Happens to
um,
me too.
yeah, I don't, I need to also get better at just like not having to have control in the kitchen and
Yeah.
letting the kids help a little bit more in there. And I like the idea of like having them be your sous chef or something like that. I think I
Hmm.
am just always like, it takes too long and it's not as efficient if they're with me. So I'm like, I can get
Yeah.
this done 10 times faster if you just like get
Yeah.
out of my way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I need to get better at that. But that's great. Those are really great, fun ways that you can get them to like buy in, like you said, to kind of just be involved in the planning of it. I've definitely had my daughter help with like her birthday parties and stuff in the past of like,
Yeah.
pick this or that or stuff like that. But she said the other day, her birthday was on Monday. And I made just like a small little cake for her because a friend of hers, grandmother is a cake decorator, and I was trying to get her over there to like, she wants to learn how to like decorate cakes. And I was like, oh, well, you
Oh,
can go over
cute.
there to like make your own
That's
birthday cake with
useful.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she said, she's like, well, I don't remember exactly what she said, but essentially like, well, I don't ever get the chance to like make stuff myself. And it like kind of hit me of like, I really need to like lose
Oh,
control in the
yeah.
kitchen a little bit more
That's
to like,
tough.
because she's
Yeah.
11, like she's fully
Yeah.
capable of doing a lot
Yeah.
more than she probably is. But I
Yeah,
usually just don't
start
let
off
her.
simple. Yeah, start off simple with like pancake mixes
Yep.
or cake mixes. And I mean, that's my 12-year-old's been doing that for a couple of years. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Like I buy that Kodiak protein pancake mix from Costco. I'm like, you know what? This really benefits the whole family. You make what
Yep.
y'all are gonna have for breakfast now, but I need you to like triple it and put some in the freezer for later. And that's usually like a weekday breakfast is what he's made. Um,
Yeah.
and
That's
then
smart.
I don't know why we had chocolate cake mix for some reason. I don't normally keep it on hand. And he was like, "Can I make this?" And I was like, "Go for it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it."
Last summer we had a big list of like summer skills that we were working on, like addressing an
Mhm.
envelope and cooking things and whatever. And
Oh, nice.
she learned to make pancakes last summer. And so there are some like Saturday or Sunday mornings where I'm like, I don't feel like making pancakes today. And she's like, well, I'll just
Yeah.
make them. And I'm like, okay. And then she makes them and they usually turn out better than my pancakes. So
That's amazing. That's
yeah, yeah,
amazing. Have you
that's
ever
good.
done the boys were really little before the protein craze took over everything. I would put just the dry mix in a jar and take my recipe and just quadruple it into a giant mason jar with just the dry stuff, shake it
Yeah.
up real good and just I did a couple test runs of like that was how I was able to let them in an early stage, like just have the stuff ready on hand and make my own dry mix and then just add the wet stuff and it was good to go.
Yeah, I actually switched to I think it's like Krusty's brand. It's a giant
Yeah.
bag at Costco. It's like
Yeah.
$7. It's probably not the healthiest, but it's literally everything and you just add water. And so she can
Yeah.
follow that like really
Easy.
easily. The last time she made pancakes, she's like, "Oh, I have to get the recipe out." I'm like, "Just add water till it looks right. Like you've made them enough."
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, is like I don't ever really follow a recipe. Um, but she's very like type A and like we'll have to read it all out.
Yeah.
So like we're very different in the kitchen. But and she's like, "Well, I don't know what to," and I'm just like, just keep looking at it. Add a little bit, mix it
Yeah.
up. Like you know what it's supposed to look like. But the last
That's
one she
awesome.
made turned out great. So um awesome. That's really good tips of just like kind of strategizing and letting them help
Yeah.
throughout the lead up, which is good. Um, we said before that you're a photographer and you've moved around
Hmm.
as a military family a
Time.
bunch. So moving like anytime is difficult, but then when you have to move your business, I'm sure it's even harder.
Yeah.
Are there things that you've done when you're moving your business that could like help anyone if they are like new somewhere and they have to like get established?
Yeah. So I think we kind of touched on it already when you move, you got to know where you're moving to, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference
And
between
sometimes we
moving
don't.
and yeah, and the first time I moved to Alabama, I had no idea there would be a difference between a civilian town and a military town, right? Like there was all experience-based education. Um, but I think knowing where you're going is a huge Is it military? Is it not military? That's going to make a huge difference. I mean, I waited for 18 months for my business to take off by word of mouth when it never would have because everybody already knew a photographer, hairstylist, babysitter, photographer, like all the things. Nobody, just wasn't going to happen, right? And so I really had to dig deep and figure out how to market my business completely differently than I did at Camp Lejeune when it was just like, hey, everybody's looking for somebody to do something, right? Because nobody knows anybody. So I think knowing your town, knowing that's the biggest thing is once you have a location of where you're moving to, research the mess out of it, whether it is whether it's for business or for personal life. Like where are you going? What are the schools like more than the schools, but like your sports for your people, your church, like where are you going to land with a church that is theologically what you want, but also demographically what you're like similar to you. All of those things really matter. And that's something that's like the first line of effort once you have orders or a location or a house. That's a big thing. But then secondly, it's just putting yourself out there. And when it comes to moving your business, you can put yourself out there and start that research process. I did it a year in advance before we moved to Quantico. I did it probably about 9 months in advance from when we moved out here to Hawaii. But you got to put yourself out there like virtually and physically, like in person once you've arrived in a duty station. When I say virtually, like you need to get into those mom groups on Facebook. As much as I hate them, like they are very useful if you just troll them. You don't have to engage if you don't want to. But like, if you got gluten allergies, where's the best place to get gluten-free treats? Or where's the best place to get X, Y, and Z? Facebook group, mom groups are the best source for that. Whether you're doing personal research for your own family or you're doing research for your business and clientele and your target demographic. Like I hate Facebook, but those groups are it. And then it's putting yourself out there virtually, like getting to know your place, but then writing about it, becoming a local expert, but also sharing your expertise for your craft. So whether if that's a photography, like you need to find those locations, you need to become an expert in those, and you need to work and serve and do some promo stuff to show that you are an expert there and put yourself out there. I always tell my clients who are moving their photography businesses, get in that mom group and offer some free mini sessions. Like the point is not to make money here. The point is to serve people and get to know your place better. Same thing when you're out there doing it for your personal, like, what are you looking for? What do you need? Ask people to help you, give you information. But then also when you've arrived to a new duty station or a new house, new city, anything, like you need to physically put yourself out there. I used to do it when my kids were really little. I would just go sit outside and weed the yard while the kids were playing, or I would supervise them. And that's how I met all kinds of people who were on my street, on my block, in my neighborhood. As the kids have gotten older and they're not needing my supervision as much, the dog's really helpful. Or I just sit on my porch, or I just go for a walk. Like you don't need a reason, like a stealthy reason to physically be outside. But if you are outside, people are more willing to come up to you. If you're going to stay in your house, nobody's going to come knock on your door. Well, very few. I would, but only if you're like really close to me, right? But then also while you're outside, you need to be approachable. Like don't put the earbuds in your ear. Like talk to people, smile. It amazes me when I'm outside walking, and I walk almost every single day, how many people walk by me or run by me without any engagement.
Yeah.
No,
like
no
not
eye
an
contact.
acknowledgement. Yeah.
And earbuds are not an acknowledgement, not a facial expression, not eye contact, nothing. It is shocking to me. Y'all gotta do that. Like you gotta smile, you gotta show some human interaction, say good morning. Like there's a lot you can do without verbalizing anything, but you gotta be approachable. Like you gotta put yourself out there. And I'm on the board for our spouse club here in Hawaii, and somebody had brought it to my attention, like the idea of, at our events, having somebody always in charge of making sure people are comfortable meeting people. And I thought about it and I was like, we're grown-ups. We're grown-ups. We're all responsible for making sure we're engaging and putting ourselves out there and meeting people and making sure we're comfortable. Being a new person is never comfortable, first of all. Ripping the Band-Aid off and going to a spouse event in order to meet new people as a new person is never comfortable. Um, so to have somebody who is quote unquote in charge of that's everybody's job, right?
Yeah.
It's everybody's job to welcome new people, even if you're not new, and it's our own job as big girls and adults to put ourselves out there to start conversation and to rip the band-aid off even when it's awkward and weird, and just make friends.
Yeah. No, that's all such good advice and good reminders for us to have. I was talking to another military spouse like a couple years ago on the podcast, and she said it is really hard to be like the new girl, but even if you're used to being new and like you put yourself out there, like you can't control how welcoming other people are essentially. And like
Hmm.
if you're not the new person, you need to like recognize the new people and like welcome them with open arms. And I
Yeah.
think those of us that aren't new, like we all need to get better at doing that so that it's less awkward and less uncomfortable for the new person. Um,
It's so easy to forget that. I mean, I'm
it
2 years removed
is.
from being the new person here,
Yep.
and yeah, I need that reminder, 100%.
Yeah. A of mine here, like non-military, the furthest thing from military, really. She's in charge of like when new families come to our school. We're at a private Catholic school, and
Uh-huh.
we were talking about we both knew this the first year that we were here, we were both new,
Mhm.
and so that's what been like maybe 3 years ago now, and we were talking about a situation last year with somebody that was new, and it did hit me like I could have been much better and much more welcoming, but I think it's because, like you said, I've been here for a couple of years, so I don't feel
Yeah.
new. I don't feel that discomfort anymore, but I remember it. It's just like not as present as it was because I'm further away from it. So
Yeah.
yeah, remembering those feelings, I think is helpful
And
to like,
joining. I think that's
yeah,
another thing people want to shy away from. I'm not a joiner, or they'll,
yeah,
create these categories or self-identify as I don't X, Y, and Z. Well, that's fine, but you're going to get the outcomes of X, Y, and Z too. And if you want friends, if you want community and you want it faster, then you gotta work for it, right? Like, not only do you need to put yourself out there by being outside and being available to meet people in your neighborhood, but you need to join things, whether
yeah,
that's like a spouse club, a running group, a kickball team, chamber of commerce in your town, or like women in business, or some virtual, there's a lot of online groups that actually physically meet in person, especially on
yeah,
LinkedIn and networking groups and stuff too. So personal or business wise, like you just got to join. You just got to say yes to everything until something sticks. And
yeah,
then something will stick and you can just stick to the one thing.
yeah,
And then you won't be
exactly.
new anymore.
Yeah, but you got to remember the new people. Um,
Yes, 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 yes.
So you have given us a ton of advice, and I know that you have a ton more experiences of how hosting has like impacted your life and impacted the lives of other people, your neighbors, your friends, coworkers.
Hmm.
What can you give us some examples of like how saying yes, like putting yourself out there, joining things, like what have those outcomes been that have come back to
Yeah,
you
okay.
because you've done that?
Yeah, so always good things. Always, and I feel like there's almost countless things, but there was one time and the thing is it doesn't have to be a major holiday or major event, right? That you host. There's we were in Virginia Beach, so that's where we were before here. It was a military town. It's a weird military town, but still a military town. And but we were
So many of
living
us
off
Navy folks.
it's yeah, it is a ton of Navy folks. But we were living out in town and instead of living on base, and so we were still surrounded by a bunch of civilians, a few Navy guys, and we had been in the house for 3 months, and we just had a driveway, drinks, and a fire pit. Okay, like we didn't plan for this other than like texting people like the day before, I think, right? Like that felt like a lot of commitment. Hey, we're doing this tomorrow night. Hope you could come hang out, drop in whenever, like 6 to 9. I don't know. And we did, and we ended up being out till midnight, and we met all these people walking their dogs because people would be walking their dogs. And I'd say, hey, we just moved in. My name's, I'd introduce myself, and we met a ton of people that way. But the craziest part to me was that we were on the corner, and there were people 2 doors down to our right who had lived there for somewhere between 5 and 7 years, who had never met people 2 doors on our left, who had also been there a long time. And so, like this combined 7 years, they'd both been there, and I was just like, "You guys need to meet.
Yeah.
Like, what are y'all doing?" And it was just a simple driveway, like fire pit. And we met tons of people, and we had only been there 3 months, so it's that kind of like knocking on doors, letting people know like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. Hey, I mean, I think we did knock on a couple like immediate doors, like, hey, we're just having a fire if you want to come hang out with us. And I think we did that a handful of times after that. And I ended up joining the Civic League and helping revive its events that summer, that duty station. Um, but then also something else we did last summer. So I right now I live on a circle, and that's our neighborhood. And so we have a circle neighborhood chat, but we also have these two streets that are really close to us, and all the kids play together. And honestly, I think we're just too physically close to not know each other. We probably even need to have like a bigger chat
Yeah.
because the nerf wars get intense. Um, but so I wanted to meet these kids. And so right before school started, I think it was like the week before or the weekend before, I was chatting with my neighbor and she ended up hosting it. But again, super simple in the driveway. We had a popsicle party for all the school age kids. Like, come meet your people. And we were kind of commiserating that youth sports at the time didn't have any like youth sports things happening. Like there was no teams happening, there was no soccer. It was this really weird dead season right after PCS. Like that
Mm.
doesn't make sense. Like
Yeah.
this is when kids are trying to need something to do to fill the time because they don't feel comfortable, you know. And so we had like a popsicle party in her driveway slash our playground, and I just got the bullhorn on it. Was like, okay, if you're in sixth grade, get together, get together with your grade, like, and then we played like this game called Anatomy Shuffle, just getting the kids to like mix and mingle and talk. And so we just had all the parents like, I mean, we had a bunch of popsicles, but we said, hey, just bring some popsicles to share. That way, I mean, everybody I think had like 4 and 5 popsicles, but it gave them something to do. They were outside, they could talk, they could mingle, they could meet people that weren't necessarily on our street, but also might be going to the same school as they were, and kids that had just moved in, trying to make friends for the people we had lost. Um, so yeah, so that's like the other big part of hosting to me is creating that opportunity to connect with people,
Yeah.
putting, outside of going for walks and meeting who you can by chance, but like intentionally trying to meet the people who are closest physically to me, in my neighborhood and on the streets or surrounding us.
Yeah, those sound like such cool little like semi-spontaneous, nothing serious events or
Yeah.
gatherings. It sounds like I might need to invest in a bullhorn. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, that's a story. Actually, the 1 year anniversary of the bullhorn is right
Oh my
after July
gosh,
5
the
or
bullhorn
July
is
4th.
infamous, it sounds like.
So we hosted our July 4th party last year, 2024, and it was the first we PCS in 23. So 24 was our first summer. Like, we're not going anywhere. We're in Hawaii. We're not traveling. We're not going to see family. I was like, I love July 4th. Like, let's go do something fun. And so our neighborhood had been talking, a bunch of the dudes had been talking for a month about like, oh, we should just get a keg together. We should just get a keg. So we did that. We had a keg, we had music. I really like dancing, and line dancing is about the only thing I can get people to do with me. Didn't really happen. It was like me and the kids dancing at the train. But that's okay. I'll take what I can get. Um, and then we can walk a block up our around our house to go see the fireworks in the next town over, right off base. And so that was the plan. Like we had food, beverages, dancing, and then was giving these like 10-minute warnings, like trying to holler, right? I'm hollering at like, I don't know how many people. There were people I did not know at our party last year. I was like meeting all kinds of people. And it was just me. I didn't have a mic. And a week later, this bullhorn shows up from Amazon on my doorstep. And I was like, who did this? And one of our friends at the party was like, I thought you could use it. Now I get it
I
out for
love
everything.
it.
Cars driving too fast, like where are my kids? Like all the parties, like yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. So it will, and so it's 1 year anniversary. Its little birthday's coming up next week, and we will
This
use
is
it.
hilarious. I
Mhm.
love that somebody like recognized that and was like, I'm gonna like be thoughtful and gift this thing to you.
It's so much
Um,
better than me having bought it for myself. 100%.
yes, yeah.
Hmm.
There is a grandma that helps at my kids' school lunches, like lunch duty, like just to monitor the lunchroom. And she has a whistle, and like every if the kids get too loud, she whistles. But she is like real whistle heavy. And the bullhorn kind of reminds me of that, of like just like the bullhorn is infamous. It will always be associated
Yep.
with you, just like this whistle is always associated with
Yep.
Grandma Peel.
Yep.
But that's so funny. Oh, something else I wanted to talk about was the like driveway fire pit thing. You said you were only there for like
Yep.
3 months and then you did it. When we moved from San Diego to Colorado, we had only been in our house for a few months, and then we had a friend from San Diego say, "Hey, my birthday plans fell through. Do you care if I like fly out and I'll just hang out with you guys for the weekend?" I was like, "Yeah, love that. We have this one party to go to at our neighbor's house, and then we have this other party we have to go to at this other friend's." And she's like, "You've been there for 3 months. How do you already have
Right.
like two parties to go to?"
Parties.
And I was like, "Just meet people and
Yeah, exactly. And that's like, I mean, let's think about now that you got my brain rolling, like we hosted the like a hui ho see you later cookout when we had all our friends moving recently, but we also host every November 10th, the Marine Corps' birthday. We do a kids cake cutting ceremony.
oh,
And that was
fun."
something that, there was like a big kids ball, birthday ball back in Okinawa. And I've never seen anybody else do that. So we were like, we could do that at our house. Actually, it was a neighbor in Quantico that did it at her house. And I was like, this is brilliant. We're going to keep this up. And so we watched the commandant's message. It's like a 10-minute video. We get the TV outside and everything. We get a sheet cake. We cut it with a real sword. We sing the Marines hymn. And we even have like the oldest kid pass the first cake to the youngest kid. Um, but again, it's 30 minutes and then we hang out, we celebrate the Marine Corps and we eat cake. Like,
Yeah,
like, but
I love it.
we had so many family members come to that were just happened to be in town, that just were like thanking us for hosting it. Like, oh wow, that was
Yeah.
really kind of you.
It is cool to do stuff that's like very specific like that,
Hmm.
especially if you can invite people that have never seen that kind of thing. And there's so
Yeah,
much tradition and like pomp and circumstance with the military. When we had
yeah,
my husband's retirement ceremony, there were so many like civilian friends of ours that were there that were like, I never knew that this is what this was like.
that's
So
amazing.
it's kind of cool to introduce people to those kind of niche things. So
Yeah, it really is.
Okay. We're going to move on to these last call questions. I'm going to make sure
Yeah.
that we link to your website so people can find out more about you do a military spouse coaching. Um,
Yeah. So that was one of the things, I've moved my business 7 times with all these military moves. And my business has grown so much after it, after all these moves, so much experience and trial and error, and just trying to make my entrepreneurial dreams work with military lifestyle.
yeah,
And there's so much I didn't know when I was first doing it and first starting out that I want other military spouses to recognize. Any spouse, honestly, anybody moving for any reason, whether it's military, husband, job, whatever it is, same principles matter. But I just want spouses in particular to know that they're valued and they're capable of more than the Marine Corps is giving, or the military lifestyle might currently be giving them. Like, there's so much more. If we just do a few things in the right way, in the right timeline, um, we the moves don't have to be such a arduous income killer, if you
yeah.
will.
No, you definitely have the experience. So we'll make sure that we put links to that so people can check
Yeah.
you out. And you have a podcast as well, so they can
Yeah.
listen
It's
to
called
more
Keep
of
It
your good
Moving.
stuff.
Yep, Keep It Moving on Spotify and Apple. Hopefully it's helpful to everybody because we put a lot. It's podcasting is so much work in it.
Yeah, people think you just like start talking, and it's so much more than that.
Yeah, no, that's like the 10% of it, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Awesome. All right. Well, we will link to it. And then I'm sure you're going to have some more fun stories for us when we talk about these last call questions. So the first
yeah.
one is what has been your favorite party to host?
I think July 4th. July last year in particular, July 4th was good because we had a ton of people. We met a ton of people. It was outside. Um, and we got to dance. I like dancing personally.
That's
But
fun.
also I threw myself a party for the first time this year. Turned 39 back in February on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
And we
fun.
did a themed like all out party. It was a Dolly Parton dance party. And it was, because it was my birthday, I could do whatever I wanted and I got
Exactly.
to dance the whole night and I did not stop. And even one of my friends was like, my like fun friend, she was like, girl, she was like, I got tired, but you were just going. I was done. It was great. I mean, I curated the playlist for probably 4 or 5 months. Like it was,
Wow.
oh yeah. I'm a bit of a playlist snob. And then there were a couple already Dolly Parton playlists that on Spotify that I was like getting ideas from. And then I just listened to it ad nauseum for a while. I was just like,
Dolly Parton Dance Party sounds like a really fun theme, and it Sounds like you put a lot of effort into it, which is really cool. Um,
Yeah.
I was telling somebody recently, like I always have music going, but I get like really overwhelmed with like auditory sensory stuff. So
Mm,
once a lot of people show up and there's like a lot of noise from people talking, and then all of a sudden I hear the music, I'm like, it's too much for me. I gotta like turn the music off.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
One of my best, actually, another fun little tip is one of the things I always wanted as a kid was wired speakers. Like music's always been like a big thing for me. I wanted my whole house. I wanted to like be able to do chores on a Saturday and walk into every room and hear the same song, right? And not
yeah,
like get away from the music. Sonos speakers, being military and moving as often as we do, are Bluetooth wired. And so it's Bluetooth and it's wired into your home network. So we have all these speakers around the house, a sound bar, movable portable speakers, but it's not streaming from your phone. It streams from the speaker because the speaker is downloading the information. Does that make sense? So it's not killing your battery and then
yeah.
like your phone isn't streaming it and then just sending it to a speaker. The speaker is streaming it itself through the app controlled on your phone. And so
Okay.
it doesn't turn off, it doesn't ding when you get a message, you're not like blasting your conversations to the speakers. But whether you're upstairs, downstairs, inside, outside, like you can have the same background music
That's
throughout the whole
cool.
experience.
Yeah,
And I've been in love with it. I love it. There's Sonos, Sonos.
awesome. That's really fun. Okay, what is the best community that you've been a part of and what made it so great?
Man, so they've all been so different. Part
Yeah.
because of our stage of life with the ages of our kids and how many kids we had, and then part because of where we were put, right? So Alabama was really great because we were the only military people. We had the same group of friends, all with the exact number of kids, same ages as our kids, for 3.5 years. Like it was amazing. We
People
really
weren't
loved
going in
it.
and out.
People were not going in and out. But then, so that would probably be one of our favorite like civilian duty stations. But then Okinawa was really awesome because, and this is exactly why I chose to go to Okinawa instead of California. I wanted to be trapped with people who are trapped. So there
Yeah.
was heavy rotation, and every summer between like mid-June and late July, I got a little depressed because I had no friends, the kids have no friends. Everybody had moved out, but nobody had moved in. And so there was very much a sense of loneliness there every summer. But nobody was traveling for holidays. Very few people were traveling. And people might go to mainland or Bali but like the big holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, we had this core group that came to our house almost the whole time, right? And there are a few people that came in and out, but we had some core people that stuck together, with some similar life stages as us. And so that was a really cool community to have that stability, even within the military, environment. But they're all, I mean, now we're in Hawaii. Like it's kind of it's a great community here, but it's beach oriented and I love the beach. Like we're walkable from a Hawaiian beach. Like, yeah, let's
Yeah.
go out and have beverages on the beach. Like that's kind of nice.
That is really nice. Yeah.
It's really nice. So yeah, they've all been really lovely, but I think Alabama and Okie were some of our favorites.
That's awesome. I love the concept of like somewhere where you're all trapped together because that is really where
It's
like
exactly what
deep
happened. I mean,
friendships can
yeah,
form.
where I mean, for the Marine Corps, it's the primary duty stations are North Carolina, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, Pendleton, I mean, they're and San Diego, California, and then Okinawa. And both coasts, East and West Coast, are same versions. Anytime you get a long holiday, people either travel or go home to see family. They're just gone, right? Like the base is empty, houses are empty. It's just everybody flees. You can't do that in Okinawa. You
Yeah.
can't do that from Japan. You can't do that from Hawaii either. There's a
Right.
lot more travel, inter-island travel, but by and large, we're all kind of here for the long haul.
Yeah. We enjoyed our time in Hawaii, but it was like right after we both got commissioned. I was on a ship. My husband was like in and out on
Oh,
subs.
you weren't actually in
Um,
Hawaii.
well, everybody was like, don't you? I hear there's like island fever. Don't you get island fever? And I'm like, I'm not around enough to get island fever.
Yeah.
Like,
And
but
that's
it was a fun time to be there because we were like young, newly engaged, newly married, and like everybody was kind of in that same stage of life. And we had friends
yeah,
like all over the island. So it's like if you wanted to go to the North Shore, you had friends there. If you wanted to go to Cabo, you had friends that like, so we had people everywhere,
that's
which was
cool.
great.
It is very much a honeymoon duty station, but I
Yeah.
also it's like for the Marine Corps, it's the pinnacle of the Marine Corps' offerings, and it's almost like setting you up for failure right out if it's your first duty station because
Mm,
like after here, like It's
Yeah.
many steps,
Yeah.
many. Like you're plummeting and like I just, just don't want to set up your expectations too high.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's great.
Okay, what is we've probably mentioned lots of them so far, but what is your best party hosting tip?
Oh my gosh. Don't do it all. Is that what I wrote?
That is,
Don't do
yeah.
it all yourself. Like even if you are doing it all yourself, like chunk it out little by little. Do what you can make. I mean, even when it's having people over for dinner, like I do not make anything that I have to make on site, right? It's things that are last minute preps and then it's done. It's made ahead, it's in a slow cooker, it's coming out of the freezer, something like that. Really strategize what really has to be done because time and time again, no matter how many times we've done this, I'm always blindsided by all the little tiny details that I forget about the day of or the day before. And the big things to plan for need to just be squared away and done and prepped when they can be so that you make room for not being frazzled on the day of.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
also, I think like padding in, I do this on Thanksgiving and I do this on Christmas, but I don't know that I do it on other days. Padding in time to rest. You give
Yeah.
yourself a 2 hour pad time, like have everything done, 2 hours before people come over so that you can just sit on the couch, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and have a drink.
Yeah. I like in the perfect world that happens, but I don't feel like it ever actually happens in my
Yeah.
house when we're having
Hmm.
people. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I'm usually like my feet hurt before like my back hurts
Yes.
before people even show up because I've just been like on my feet, like doing a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff. So it is always nice to like if you can cushion in some time, but I need to get
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's practice, right? Practice
Yeah.
makes progress.
Yeah. Allison, this has been so fun. I feel like we've covered a ton and we have so
Yay.
many similar experiences that we could have talked for a lot longer, but I appreciate that you
Yeah,
took
I
your
think so.
time to be here today. And like I said, we'll have all the links so people can find you afterwards. So thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a delight. And I just love your platform and your purpose behind hosting. Like it
Yeah.
really is so much more than just having fun or throwing a party, which is great. But there's a lot more to community and depth and connection, and making a reason and giving people an opportunity to connect. So awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Love
having
it.
me.
You're welcome.